Alright everybody, welcome back to the Driveway Engineer. I'm JR. What you're looking at here is a picture of the Junkyard Jewel. This is when I pulled this last year. For those of you who don't know, this was out of a 1500 HD. It turned out to have a bad piston in it, even though it spun and it won. What I mean by that, when I say that if it spins it wins, I mean that there's nothing so bad that you can't easily correct it. There's the main bearing out of the 238,000 mile piston rod. This is a piston that came under a tarp in my buddy Wayne's yard. I only replaced the one piston. I didn't hone that cylinder. I didn't do anything else. The reason for showing you guys this when you came here to get my thoughts about the Powerblock is to show what's actually possible, to establish my bona fides, if you will. I've actually done this. I'm not just some guy rambling on YouTube. So we'll get into that reaction video in a moment. It's simple ring installer. I whack it in with a hammer. But the purpose of this channel is to show that you don't need all that stuff that they do on the Powerblock. The purpose of this channel is to show that the average guy on an average budget can have a good time. So we're going to compare and contrast what I've done here to what they've done with their 5.3 here in a moment. I don't remember why I put this in exactly. And I don't mean these reaction videos. I kind of want to do them every once in a while. I don't want to do them full time or anything. I don't mean any disrespect or anything like that. My way is not the only way. It's just a way. But I want people to know that there is another way. You don't... All this stuff... Here's me taking an angle grinder with a wire wheel on it to the deck. Clean the carbon up. Copper spray the gasket. Slam them on there. Spin it around. Get the carbon off the other pistons, because why the hell not? It was kind of silly to clean the carbon off one and not the other 7. But anyway... this totally worked. This engine went on to make, I've been saying 360 horsepower, but it actually made 370 horsepower. There is a bucket full of used head bolts. I did have to use new head gaskets with this one because I had early heads with a notch in them, and they require a specific head gasket. The graphite gaskets on the early engines aren't reusable, really. Not for me. I've never been able to successfully peel one off. They're always all soggy like a wet cereal box. But yeah, you run the used bolts in. This is what you wind up with. I put the front dress on it, factory manifolds. This is a 6-liter LQ4 with 862 heads. This is what it made. Well, that's what it made too. 370 horsepower, 392 foot-pounds of torque. This is 100% SAE correction factor. No funny business. This is exactly what it made from the video. So with that established, let's get into the Powerblock stuff here. Alright, so to be clear here, while they're doing their intro, I've been watching this since it was Horsepower TV with Joe and Chuck back in the 90s when it was the Nashville network. If there was no Horsepower TV, there would be no Driveway Engineer. And I appreciate that these guys have advertisers to satisfy. We'll skip ahead through whatever this is. So yeah, this is the recipe right here that I think this guy's name is Mike is standing by. It's a Vortec. We call them LSs, whether you want to get technical or not. It's an LM7. In my opinion, the LM7 is the MVP of the LS swap world. You can find one anywhere. They make good power, and I can see the harness plugs and everything on it. He has a complete one that spins. So let's just start there. They're rated at like 270 to 290 horsepower, and they'll go into that, I believe, here in a moment. Yeah, they bumped them up a little later. There weren't any real hard part changes, so I think it was just tuning and calibration. We don't really care what the cam is. This is like number one right here. This is where they went completely wrong. Like, every gasket in this engine is reusable. And they have 200 hours worth of gaskets sitting here for no reason. Like, I reuse every one of these gaskets, every single one of them. And what's your peace of mind worth? Well, I sleep like a baby at night knowing that my truck makes 370 tire right now, NA, and makes 620 tire when I put the turbo back on it. That knowing that I reused all these gaskets. They're fine. This is a waste of money. They're all embossed. You can see it right on them where the little rubber emboss is. They're all 100% reusable. And I get that this stuff is scuzzy and it's not like race car cool, but it totally works fine for everybody. There's a ton of us out there at this point, ton of driveway engineers, ton of sloppy mechanics, like just reusing all this stuff. There's always going to be a big pile of poo in the intake, always. If you watch my most recent junkyard video, I point that out. That's the AC compressor. It's on its own bracket. It's on its own belt. It can go away. This right here, let me back this up. Right here is about as far as I would tear this engine down. If I knew it came out of a running donor, and they tend to go to a local salvage yard and buy like high dollar ones, I wouldn't go any further than this unless I was putting a cam in it. Period. There's no need to. Flip it upside down, change the oil pump O-ring, and go. It looks like they had good luck with the manifold bolts. Usually they're pretty busted. You usually got to pull a few of them. Yeah, there's sludge in there. So what? Who cares? It's an old truck motor. They didn't take care of it. Oh, there's a good point too. The that 4-port steam system is something that people get hung up on. I use whatever the engine has. If it has a 4-port, I use it. If the back two are blocked off, I don't worry about it. The knock sensors are always tore up. Yeah, there's a little push rod wear. Whatever. I don't know. Let's cut him on and see what he has to say here.
Up next, with just a couple of hand tools and a little bit of time, your engine can run its best. We'll show you how.
Alright, so I lost my audio here, but they're marveling at the bearings, and that's what they all look like I already showed you guys. Sometimes the rings get a little stuck, no big deal. I just soak them in diesel upside down. They're kind of worried about that. I've never even looked in that groove, but let me go ahead and skip ahead here. I'm trying to use as little as their video as possible. They're putting it in the hot tank. Not necessary. Not at all necessary. I run them as scuzzy as they come. And for the guy at home who's just, you know, you don't have a hot tank, this isn't worth it. He's sanding the oil pan rails. I mean, they get into dingle ball honing. None of that is necessary. And if you don't already have this stuff, you don't need to do it. If you already have this stuff, knock yourself out. But like porting the oil pump, what do you think you're doing here, man? All this stuff, blueprinting the oil pump, shimming the spring. People love to shim the spring. I don't know what the deal is there. Back to their, I don't know, high volume, high pressure oil pump days or something. But it's wildly unnecessary, like most of this stuff is. I don't know what he's yammering on about here. It doesn't really matter. You guys probably can't see it because I overlaid my own video clip. But we'll just get up to the point where they actually run the engine after they did all this. They went through all this crap. They put a toilet on top. They probably have, if you wanted to duplicate this, I would say that you would be into this for probably close to $3,500. Let's just get to the part where they run it on a dyno. See what you get for your $3,500 doing what they do with a toilet on top. It is a nice looking engine, I'll give you that. I don't know why they're all stupefied. 337 horsepower, which is 40 short of what I made with Joule 100% stock, but a 6-liter to be fair. However, they have a cam and a 5.3. Like, that's literally what I would expect to make from a factory fuel injected 5.3 totally stock. I think that I would be right there. So, I mean, it's your call. You can do it their way, you can do it my way, you can do it anywhere in between, but doing it their way is just throwing good money away, and there's no reason for it. I don't know. I just hate to see people go down this path who don't know any better. Like, trust me, This stuff's all reusable, and you've seen in these clips that I've inserted of my own, there's 100 more 5.3s out in the junkyard. Like, worst come to worst, you get a bad one, just go get another one. $250. Like, you'll spend more than that hot tanking and decking the stupid thing in the machine shop. So anyway, until next time, this is JR. I thank you guys for watching. Be sure to leave me your comments down below, what you think, what you don't think. I'm horrible, whatever. And we'll see you next time on The Driveway Engineer.